Thank you, Madam President. I rise today in strong support of the North Korea Sanctions and Policy Enhancement Act. I commend Senators Corker and Gardner, Menendez and Cardin for their hard work on this bill, and I am proud to be a co-sponsor. A rogue regime with nuclear weapons, North Korea poses a very serious threat to the United States. Last month, the North Koreans tested a nuclear device as they continue to advance their weapons technology. Just this weekend, the North Koreans launched a satellite as they work to build a ballistic missile program. Cyber attacks launched by North Korea have crippled businesses like Sony's Pictures and targeted our allies in South Korea and Japan. The threats posed by North Korea will only continue to grow. And our current policy towards North Korea has failed to protect the safety and security of the American people. This legislation takes significant steps to deny North Korea's capabilities and limit the nuclear and ballistic missile programs, stop cybersecurity attacks, and end North Korea's horrendous human rights violations. Mandatory investigations and mandatory sanctions are the hallmark of this legislation. Under this bill, the administration is required to investigate the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, human rights abuses, and cybercrimes. When investigations reveal misconduct related to these activities, sanctions are required. Importantly, the bill will target minerals and other items that the North Korean regime uses to finance its weapons program at the expense of its own people. Sanctions under this bill would also apply to businesses or individuals around the world who help North Korea expand its nuclear weapons and cybercrime capabilities. Similar legislation imposing sanctions targeted towards North Korea passed in the House last month with a nearly unanimous vote. That's quite an achievement. And today I hope this bill will pass by a similar margin and show that the Senate is united on our resolve against the security threats posed by North Korea. On another important note, Madam President, last night, the United States Supreme Court put the Environmental Protection Agency's Clean Power Plan on hold. This landmark decision will prevent the Obama administration from enforcing this rule until all legal challenges are complete. West Virginia, my state, has lost nearly 10,000 coal mining jobs since 2009. Nearly every week, hundreds of layoffs and warn notices devastate West Virginia's coal fields, West Virginia's families, communities. The impact on state and local budgets has been stark. School boards have announced significant cuts to education due to the loss of coal severance tax revenue. This is happening all across the state. As bad as the current economic situation is, the Clean Power Plan would have made things even worse for families and communities in my state. Well, we know the EPA's playbook. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court struck down EPA's mercury rule targeting power plants since the agency failed to follow the legal requirements. But because the mercury rule went into effect years before legal challenges were complete, billions of dollars had already been invested and many jobs had already been lost. My ARENA Act has recognized that the 29 states and hundreds of other organizations challenging the president's power grab deserve meaningful judicial review. My legislation said this rule cannot go into effect until the litigation is complete. Such common sense. And I'm very pleased that the Supreme Court has agreed with this common sense position and recognized the immediate impact of this rule. I also want to extend my appreciation to West Virginia's Attorney General Patrick Morrisey for his leading role in this case. On behalf of our state, he has headed the legal challenge against this administration, and last night's decision is just the latest legal setback for an out-of-control EPA. Congress has passed legislation disapproving of the Clean Power Plan. We sent it to the president, and he vetoed it. And a majority of our states are still challenging this rule. And the judicial branch now seems poised to play its role in protecting both the separation of powers and the principles of federalism from the administration's power grab. Increasingly, This lame duck president stands alone as he attempts to further his climate agenda. The American people are not behind him. A majority of Congress has come out against his efforts, and now the Supreme Court has raised concerns. This is an important step toward having the American people, not an unchecked bureaucracy, set our energy agenda. And we must continue to fight to permanently block this rule. I yield the floor.